but then you have to go into logic and critical thinking. And, if you're remaining neutral as a journalist, you don't really go good, bad. You just get the facts, whatever the facts are at the time of what you're experiencing. But now you changed my whole title tonight because it's changed. I just took off the whole thing. But now because I went ahead and put ufology, or realms of Ascension Age ufology, because it's quite different than, it wasn't uplifting and love and light and spiritual. And because, you and I differ on, you like to think aliens are bad, but that it's based on your energy and your experience and what you're projecting about your reality. And mine is, I'm more, I guess I think more like, Buddhist or something, but I believe we create our own reality. And if I've got to have less stress, I've got to have peace, I've got to keep everything, because I have essential tremors. That's, that Theresa J Morris ET. I don't know if I made that, manifest it, but now I have to be very careful because I'm an intuitive and empath, and most people are, and some people use their reality, but we're saying 6th and 7th levels of our energy and our thinking is in neuroscience they've proved. That's why I wanted to talk about, beta, alpha, theta, delta, gamma, sigma, and tau, because we know now we're not limited. And I've been watching a lot of the left and right brain, and now they've proven in the last few years, when they cut the cord between the left and right side, we operate, and then from strokes and things like that, but we operate like we're two different beings in our own internal physical body, like a plane or car. What is your spirit down in this physical reality is monitoring this soul. But I like the Greg Braden and James Gillen, and, we don't know how precious we truly are. And so are you're drawn to the heart, and what with the mind, and we say we listen to our guts in my world and investigations and critical thinking, but when you do investigations too, what your guides, your inner self, and then your body, and we can talk about the reptilian brain, or that keeps you in flight or fight. But, there's a higher level of talking about aliens and, what is an alien? And, the aliens, they're because they're not a United States citizen, or are we going to talk about those from another place in space? Because all of us, reality says, we are on this little dot, and when you go out of body and you take your consciousness, which I've taught and studied and helped people with for years, you don't stay in your human form. Your consciousness goes to a completely different space in this universe and other universes. And so we have these beings we're working with that aren't evil. Now, I know about some evil ones out there, but unless you've been in the military or underground, or you have worked and had your own experiences, or about some of these things, or you've studied some of the things, these beings have been coming here for billions of years. And so, I haven't been talking about all those levels, but I want to do it from a spiritual awareness, because not everybody's ready to hear their changed reality that we call the worldview. We are doing that. That is the Ascension Age. We are raising awareness globally and worldwide, and that includes the Pope and the President and all the global organizations. And we're doing it because it's done continually in all universes by higher beings. And there is a conscious hierarchy, or we wouldn't have God. So it's God working through these little clay beings. We're clay beings. And the Jesus, we say the Spirit, Holy Spirit, comes and blows itself. And that's what Jesus is trying to teach us about blowing, the Spirit of all, because the Old Testament is a very different God than the New Testament, and it changed. Now, we still have, the 10 Commandments, if you want to believe in them, and most religions do revolve around Christianity, Jews, and Muslims, and all of the Abrahamic faith. But those are the ones that are left. But, we have government and the World Economic System and World Banks that control the money and the families. And, we're looking at changing that whole ugly reality. Now, a lot of people say that those beings are from old negative aliens. And some people believe in the various different groups that have come here. And some, I was looking, Greg Braden showed at the Conscious Life on the 16th. I swear I'd already heard it in another realm of existence. But I watched it, and I had to look at the date. It said it had just previewed 7/16. I had to look at today's date because it was just 18 last night. But I hadn't seen it before. But when he was saying it, I'd already seen and heard him the whole thing. So I don't know if he'd presented it the same thing before, or how did I see it visually? So these are things I'm working with globally in awareness of universal laws, because out in the universe is where I go and where I travel, and then I understand the planes and realms and the astral plane and what all people have been taught as far as worldviews down here on the planet and the words they choose and ontology. But we're working from a philosophy of love and light. And, that is because of the photons, the energy vibrations. But there are some out there, and especially in the remote viewing world and with the government, a lot of these are military people, that learned there were some there were bad negative aliens, not just good aliens. But there's good aliens too. Now, there's good angels and there's bad angels, even in our myths, legends, folklore, in the Bible, right? There's good angels and bad angels. There's angels that are messengers. And I'll put those in a lot of my books, which you can read on TheresaJMorris.com or on Lulu or Amazon if you're interested. But there's a lot of levels, planes, realms, and everybody knows basically what words come to their mind of what they've either been programmed to use with the English language, but a person may hear a word and it not mean the same thing to another human being. So that's what Tommy and I are discovering here after 8 years, is how to discuss basically our own experiences, our own perceptions of what we did as out-of-body, near-death, and coming together for an annual event, which was called Stargate to the Cosmos. But now the Ascension Age, and that which I've been teaching, you'll just have to look at all my books. And I've got How to Social Network Metaphysics. I've got Knowing Cosmology, and the byline is Ascension Age. And I've got all kind of books out there for Ace Guide and everything I've built up. And you can go to my TheresaJMorris.com and go to the books. But, this talk that Tommy does is really good, and he's experienced this. But, Tommy, you learn to talk all these levels, and it would be very good if you explain your experiences, because I'm going to put it spiritual science talk of experiencers, because I've got to shorten this, but I'll put experience, because I'm working still with the UFO Association, but experiencers realms. Now, you call them planes. Do you want to define in the way you think the difference between realms, planes, and dimensions? Because each person I talk to, and how we're going to learn to talk with the worldview, is compare everybody, go to your YouTubes, go to how you study, and I use YouTube for a lot of intelligence work, a lot of gathering of information. But I look at who it is and what level of intelligence, or their academic, or what they've studied, and but different people have different teachers, like Tommy said, and we've been working together 8 years. But, there's all types of extraterrestrials. And in my books, I separated aliens. I asked years and years ago when I was writing as a journalist for UFO Digest, and I started inferring back in 2000 that maybe we should do aliens are negative and extraterrestrials are positive. And that worked for a while. But people look up keywords on the internet through Google or whatever the other web browsers are left. But mainly you'll see people talking on Facebook and their social media. Basically, they think they know exactly what they're talking about and the words they're using. But we're going to have to get philosophical and do critical thinking. But we have to use logic. We have to use common sense and realize when we're talking that people have no clue who we are or what we mean. And it's not right for us to expect the world, because a lot of them are from other countries. They have no clue what we're talking about. So this show is going to help, hopefully, share our outer world perceptions, but how to know your inner self and outer worlds, because we all have an inner world and outer world. Now, in my outer worlds, meaning anything that's not inside me, my inner perceptions, all of us have a little thought. You'll study a lot of the younger kids, they know that we've seen pictures of a little good angel and a bad angel, or an angel and a devil on one of your shoulders. So I like to use those because you have an inner voice that somehow morals, right, Tommy, morals, we have a moral responsibility to what they call citizens in society. And a lot of things have been going on in the world is the world is going through a change, and these vibrations, we go through it every few thousand years. There's different levels, 25,600, or you'll hear 25,960. You'll hear all these different thousands of years based on the world's change, the stars change, the galaxies change. The Milky Way galaxy is changing, and our black hole in the middle. And so you have to understand what cosmology is doing right now, and it's expanding. As we light up ourselves on the inside, we reflect on the outside. And so what we're learning, it makes us grow on the inside and feed what we grow, just like Tommy said, you can go create your own world if you get to that level as a creator. But we're each a creator, and we're a divine spark from God, the God source. And so it's God reacting through our little clay bodies down here. But, in the culture that I grew up in America, and that is a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, I was told that's what I was, so I believed it. And I went to a big Baptist church on Sundays in Monroe, Louisiana, and I grew up believing in hell and damnation, and I didn't like to sit on that hard bench and get yelled at. And I was scared of God, so you hear God-fearing people. But most of America in the 50s, when I was growing up, and Tommy too, I don't know if a lot of you understand what I'm talking about, but they really did have big churches, and people gradually through the 60s, 70s, and the era where we changed reality, and we did need more rules, but we needed less rules. So we have this political party thing going on, but we're supposed to keep politics and religion out of culture, and this is what this stuff is all about, is the aliens are affecting how we live on this planet. Now, some are good, some are bad. Some may be the little angel that's a good angel that you listen to, and some may be a bad angel or bad devil or bad alien. So it's just that we're changing the words. And to most people, if you study your books and your myths, legends, and words in your English language, or really the world, and all your world religions, you're going to learn that we have tons of things that did actually make it as ancient cultures and all the beings that were here before. And some of the knowledge was passed down by what Tommy and I are doing now, just talk. It didn't get written down. But what we're going to do is try to have a way that everybody can share as a spiritual group, and maybe listen to each person's YouTube. You can go to Tommy Hawksblood, has a YouTube. I have Theresa J Morris, and I have American Communications Online Broadcasting for our shows. And I pay to get this out there. But Tommy and I are just ministers under Universal Life out of Modesto, California, and we're studying how to talk about our experiences and what we've learned as individuals. Now, you don't have to take our word for it. You don't have to follow our way, but everybody has their own journey, and everybody's going to have to learn how to talk. So sharing your soul and sharing your journey, for me, it has to be no stress. I want peace. I don't want anything to aggravate me. I stay away in fight or flight when I get around people that are angry or fighting, which seems to be a lot lately. If I'm not seeing it in my own front yard or the police being called, Tommy can tell you the same thing. These are changing times, but it doesn't mean it's really bad that we're going through, because we learn from chaos. We learned to make order. But Tommy, there's various levels out there, and there really is a Star Trekian type of universe out there. A lot of people experience it, and some of them that we've talked about, are mentioned today on this show. Now, how they're getting huge followings that Tommy and I don't have. But Tommy and I are learning just now. 8 years it's taken us to get to this, just talking about dimensions, realms, planes, realities. So our place in the cosmos right now, because he and I will be checking out.